are assigned to protect the witness's family. But the threats continue. Thomas Gunn, a member of Lorenzo Patriarch's organization, approaches the prison. Says yes. told them the boss is mad. He wanted them to hit a cop. Any cop. Todd stopped and pulled the trigger. The officer's threat was sealed.
It's only a matter of time until the cheap engine light comes on, or worse yet, your car needs repair. That could mean a big surprise auto repair bill. Those repairs are more expensive than a new engine can be worth $5,000. A new transmission worth $4,000. That's why it's so important you call Car Shield today. Car Shield is the number one auto protection company in the country. I like Berkey.
They were right.
Now it's the time to make the smart choice and protect yourself from sky-high auto repair bills. Call now for a free and instant protection from the quote. It's only a matter of time.
The next morning, Scott came back to the apartment bragging about what he had done. He only collected a few $100 of the $8,000 they'd been promised.
And individuals told how the murder actually went down, who they chose, that it wasn't Officer Burton chosen as an individual, but they chose the police officer who was going to walk through the witness's house. But he was in charge of the opportunity.
Howard Mason wanted Burns' murder to send a chilling message to law enforcement.
Your reputation is everything on the street if you're a drug trafficker. If it's not in your neighborhood,
Man standing by the driver's side window, and Copeland is the man she saw standing behind McLaren. Police now have a witness to the shooting. They need to find the three suspects still at large. The day after the trap on Scott Cobb's mother's phone is set up, police get a hit. An incoming call is traced to an address in Queens Village. It's one of several safe houses owned by Howard Mason.
Before you assemble your water purification system, make sure you wash your hands very well. Wash all the parts, all the little plastic parts, even the stainless steel, inside and out. Gently scrub it with the soft side of the pad with a little bit of soap and water. Rinse it very well. Get all the dust and contaminants out of the way. You can never be too clean when you are dealing with a water purification filter system. So like I said, lightly wash it down with a gentle soap and rinse it very, very well. Okay, so here's the bottom part of the system, and then here's the top part of the system. The top part will hold the two black filters, and the bottom part will hold the two white filters. Now, make sure you clean all your plastic parts. Most of you will have this plastic spigot, and I'll show you how to put it together. You put that beveled washer on first, and then you put it through the hole. These two go inside the unit to screw the plastic spigot together. So you see to put the beveled rubber washer on there, put it through the hole, and then you have a washer inside. Put the washer on the nut and you tighten it down, and it's all simple. Some of you might buy the better metal spigot, and all you have to do is tighten that down, hand tight. Okay, I showed you how to put this one on, but a lot of people don't like the plastic spigot. So we're going to put the plastic spigot back in this box here. This box here came with a metal spigot, so I think you have to specially order the metal spigot. We specially ordered the metal spigot. You're going to put on this first. Then you put the washer on, and we've got the washer and this on. This will go on the inside. These two will go on the inside. That will go on the outside. Okay, like I said, a lot of people don't like the plastic spigot, so they order the special metal spigot. Now, this rubber washer is a little bigger on the metal one than the plastic one. So you may have to take your knife, you may have to actually cut a little bit out of your base rubber here, or maybe push it down. But don't be surprised if you have to cut a piece of this out of here. Okay, so you put the metal washer on first, then you put the plastic washer on, then we're going to install it, and then on the inside, the plastic goes on first, the metal, and then the nut. I'll show you. So let's go ahead and do it. So I've pushed the rubber base down a little bit. See how I pushed it down a little bit? So later on, if I don't feel comfortable, if it's a little lopsided, like I said, I might have to cut a little moon shape out of the base. If it's lopsided. If it's not lopsided, I won't bother. So that's how you put that on. And then, like I said, you put these on like this, in that order. The washer, the metal, and then the nut. So again, you see the washer, the plastic washer is up against this container. The metal is on the outside towards the spigot, just the opposite on the inside. So go ahead and hand tighten it. So we got that on, hand tightened. Now it's good to have these extras. Now if you're going with the plastic, sometimes children are too rough with them. Family members break them, so you always want to have a replacement around. So this is going to be a replacement. It's going to be harder to break the metal piece, but you never know, it might start leaking. And if it ever starts leaking, you have a replacement spigot around, especially when the shit hits the fan and the economy collapses. It's good to have a couple of these around. Now let's go ahead and put the plugs in. We're going to install the plug. You leave one washer on the plugs, and we put them in the hole. Two of these holes we're not going to be using. Two holes will have the charcoal filter, and two holes will have the plug. So we have the plug in there. We push the plug in there. You see how the plug comes out the bottom. We're going to do this 2 times, and then all you do is put that washer on here and hand tighten the nut. Very simple. So of course it's hard to film and tighten up the nuts at the same time, but here they are. The plugs are in and the washers are on, and it's all hand tightened. So now we put the rubber base on and put the knob on the lid. We'll stuck them. Look at that little tiny washer.
We'll talk more about this on Face the Nation. My guest this Sunday includes White House trade advisor Peter Laura. CBS News has confirmed that the president has been asking about a big real estate deal. How about the U.S. buying green?
Put a little rubber base on there. Have a little tiny washer, which is so tiny.
gonna buy
That
Greenland?
suggestion of the U.S. trying to buy Greenland.
You should talk to Denmark.
She's right. Maybe we should buy California, as a member of Denmark's parliament joked today. Sources tell CBS News President Trump is interested in Greenland's strategic and military significance. He already has an air base in northern Greenland. In this tiny coastal hamlet of Odense, population 250, we found residents not exactly enthusiastic about the U.S. taking more ground.
This is the priming doodad. You put the little primer doodad. Well, now we have to prime the filter element. Try not to touch this part here with your hand. Use your hands and touch this plastic rim. I'll hold it right here. Now we got to prime it for 3 to 4 minutes to get all the air out before we hook it up into here. Now we're going to go ahead and prime the black filter element. You put this is the priming button, or I'll call it the priming doodad. You put that on there. You'll take these, so before you prime it, you need to take these off. These cups. So you take these off before we prime it, and then we'll put these on later. So let's go ahead. I'll show you how to prime these first, and then we'll prime these arsenic filters later. These filters are for arsenic and fluoride. So here we are in the kitchen. You got your priming button on there. And we're going to do this for about 3 or 4 minutes. We're going to push all the air out. You don't want the water flowing too fast. You want the water running kind of slowly, just enough to go through the hole. And we're going to put this button up against there. We don't want too much water flowing on the outside. We want so maybe we'll slow it down just a hair more. Maybe just about like that. Remember see how I'm holding it on the plastic? Or you can hold it by the... Now this could take 3 or 4 minutes to get comfortable. So then we're going to push this up there. You're going to feel the filter filling up. And what we want to do is we want to wait till the outside of the filter element is bubbling. It's starting to fill up. We're just going to wait until the bubbles show up on the outside of the filter element. That's why you should be kind of comfortable, because this could take 3, 4, or 5 minutes. Now you only want to use cold water. See how the spigot's on cold water. Only use cold water to prime the filter. If you did not do this, if you did not prime the filter for about 3 or 4 minutes until the bubble showed up on the outside, later on after you filled up your filter system, the air would clog up the system. So basically we're just getting the air out of the system. Takes a while. This is the hardest part of putting your Berkey system together. Priming these is probably going to be the most difficult part. Now, you may have to push high. See this right here? You may have to, I don't know if you can see it, push hard against the rubber to the faucet. You see how the filter unit is bubbling now? You're basically forcing the water through the filter. If too much water is coming out here, then you're not forcing it through the system. So you have to possibly force some pressure between the priming button, you're forcing the water in there, even though you're not letting the water's not running too fast. The faucet water's running slowly, but you have to force it in there. See how it's bubbling? I think that's enough bubbling. So we primed the second one, put it in there. Now all we have to do is put the washer and nut on the second black filter unit. So we've got our plugs in, got our 2 plugs in. We've got our black filter elements in. Now these arsenic fluoride filters are going to go on here. They're going to sit in the bottom. These units are going to be sitting in the bottom half, whereas the black filters are on the top half. That's why we're going to gently wash the outside of these with soap and rinse them very well. Now we're going to have to prime these. So we take these blue caps out of here. They're on both sides. Take these blue caps out, and then I'm going to show you how to prime these. Wash the outside. They're going to screw on here no more than 8 full turns. So we're going to use the same priming button, priming doodad on here. We're going to run water through both sides to prime it. But first, we use cold water also. I think it's good to wash this down, the outside part, with soap and water. Get all the contaminants, any dust off the outside part before we prime it. So any dust or contaminants from the factory, we wash the outside off. Now all we do is put the primer button up top, and we run some water through. Remember, cold water. This could get, for some reason, the unit could get warm when you're doing this. I'm going to slow the water down. Too much water is going through there. But we're trying to just really get all the dust and any contaminants out from the, we're going to do it on both sides. Do it on this side for a couple minutes, and then we're going to do it on the outside, or the other side. That's probably about the right flow for the water. You really have to keep a tight fit there. Push it up, make it real tight so it comes out the bottom. Like I said, the hardest part of doing these, putting this system together, is priming the filters. Once we've run the one side, we turn it over, do it to the other side. Get all the dust out of there. Now we've got it primed. We're going to come over here. See the water flow? The water flows this way. The arrow goes down into the bucket, or into the bottom part. This, where my finger is going to screw on to here. Now you only want to go no more than 8 full turns, or 16 half turns. So that would be 1 half turn, and you just slowly have to count it. Make sure you don't do more than 8. One way of knowing your 8 turns, you see the mark there? That's, I've already got there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 turns. So that's an easy way to know 8 full rotations. No more than 8 full rotations. Now we're ready to put, this is the top part. All you do is set it in there like this. We're ready to fill the water up, and this baby's ready to go. I'm going to tell you, it's not all that easy, but once you get it all together, I believe it's worth it. Always keep your primer buttons, your primer doodad, because if you go on vacation, you're going to need to prime your filters again. So definitely don't discard these. Definitely keep these around. You're going to need them. Say you go on vacation and your filter elements get dry, well then you have to reprime the filter units. So they say you want to go ahead and run some water through it once before actually using it. So Sometimes people just put these on the counter. If you want to keep a little extra water, you could run some water through here into a glass container like this. This is probably over 2 gallons. You fill this up. Say if you want to go on a trip or have some extra water. So you have this filled and this filled. You have a lot of extra water around. So you fill it up with water. And I would say you'd have to run at least one of these through here and discard it. At least run one full fill through. Throw that water away before you start drinking. That's what I would say. Go ahead and top it off. Make sure it's over the filters. It's topped off. Go ahead and put your top on there so no contaminants and dust falls in your water. And then it's let it slowly drip into the bottom unit. Enjoy your clean water.